Every time my feet leave the ground, there's such a rush of pure euphoria. Being able to fly is truly a gift. I've been so fortunate to learn how to fly a paramotor, gain experience, and have gone on to be able to teach others the same dream. Having taken what I've learned so far, I thought it might be of value to go back through the archives and be able to critique a student and help others learn some of the common things I now see as an instructor. So, in an attempt not to humiliate any particular student, I thought it might be interesting for the instructor in me to critique the student in myself, so the student I choose is me. I started my paramotor training in 2013 by basically the same way most people do, reading books, researching online, and I finally committed to training in 2015. At that time I was 45 years old, in decent shape, and went through the process the same way as so many others have. It was hard work. Now I'm not perfect, nobody is, nor am I professing to be an expert, but just maybe this might help some others out there be a better pilot than they were yesterday. The learning truly never stops. Keep in mind, this is flying from what my experience is in Canada. My flying locations are usually 3,000 feet and above sea level, where we have to deal with less dense air than the lucky few who get to fly from sea level locations. With time, patience, and effort, you get out of this sport what you put into it. Okay, so let me close my eyes, put on my instructor cap, and here we go.
Okay, this is Jason. Practice motor pull-ups.
First thing that I want to talk about is the proper use of your A's during your inflation. Now watch this. At first glance, it seems like when the wing came up, I kind of hit some rotor or something. But in actual fact, what happens is I forgot to let go of my A's. If you take a closer look, you can see I'm just hanging on to them. So what you need to think about is as you're doing your inflation, don't put too much pressure into your A's, and they want to flick off of your thumbs right about your ears. See that? Too much A's, buddy. Here, we're going to talk about not being properly set up for the wind. So you can see as soon as the wing was inflated, kind of the wing came up crooked. That's because I wasn't in proper alignment. I want to talk about the 3 points of alignment. So you got your wind direction, you got your pilot, and you got your wing. If these 3 points are always perfectly lined up, you're going to have a perfect launch every time. So if you're off center, you're not going to have a straight inflation. If the wing's off center, you're not going to have a straight inflation. So make sure that those 3 things are lined up every time. And then have a target on the horizon that you're going to focus on. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. So you can see as my wing comes up, I'm not centered to the wing. I'm not lined up to the wind. You can see it's almost like there was a crosswind. I got to be directly into the wind and have a target that I'm going to aim for.
Okay, this is Jason. Some practice reverse motor pull-ups.
Okay, with reverse inflations, I see students do this all the time. If the wing comes up a little crooked or starts to fall to one side, they tend to chase it down the field. It's like a crab crawl. What you need to do to correct this is energize the wing. So you need to move backwards into the wind and then apply brakes to steer it. So move back into the wind and then control the wing. Don't let it take it where it wants you to go. You take it where you want it to go.
Okay, this is Jason. First attempt at his first paramotor flight with his vitamin wing.
Okay,
and on
here
the
we
trainer.
are, setting up for our first launch. Nervous as hell, as everybody is. Bring the wing up, and I wasn't in proper alignment. The wing goes off to one side. So remember your 3 points of alignment. The wind, the pilot, and the wing got to be in the same alignment, and you got to focus on the target.
This is Jason. Second attempt at his first flight.
Okay, the wing comes up good. Now something goes horribly wrong.
Whoa, stop.
That actually happened. Face down into the swamp. So let's take this back. Let's learn from this. So as the wing comes up, everything is going okay. But what happens at this point is that I'm not fixated on my target. And so the torque of the engine turns me to the right. And so instead of focusing towards my target, I'm letting it carry me away. Here, I see the water, and I'm thinking, crap, what am I going to do? You can actually see, if we zoom in, we can see it starts to splash. And so at this point, I'm thinking, I got to jump over it, walk on water, man. But instead, face into the swamp. Humbling.
Okay, this is Jason. First flight on the trainer and trainer wing.
Luckily, I wasn't hurt. I went to my Jeep, I got some dry clothes on, and I went right back out onto the field, got a dry wing, and I was thinking to myself, either I got to do this today or it's not going to happen. Got another practice launch, this time set up properly, proper alignment. Okay, wing comes up, we're ready to rock.
There he goes. Jason's first flight on the trainer and the trainer wing.
All right, there's the life-changing moment, the first flight. But field selection is really important when you're training. Don't have a swamp in your field, and be clear of power lines. Right now, I'm thinking, I just want to get clear of this power line that's beneath me because that's the only thing that's on my mind. So have a good training area that's clear and wide open.
First landing, engine off.
All right, let's talk about some landings.
Whoa.
All right, not pretty. Let's have a look. So as I'm coming in on my final approach, good posture, I'm ready, prepared to land, but I basically fly it right into the ground. I didn't have any good communication in my helmet. I couldn't hear my instructor, so that is another thing. That's make sure that you have really good communication. And the sequence to your landing is pressure and flare. Here I did my flare way too late. You want to start your flare about 10 feet from the ground, but this is an old wing and I was coming in way too hot.
First landing on his paracruiser, second landing total.
Okay, so I've got a new wing, much better lift, so I was able to salvage the landing. I came in oscillating. That can be corrected by just minor corrections with your brake pressure on each side. But the difference between new equipment and old is crucial. So, not pretty, but it went okay. And you gotta give a beast roar at the end.
Flight 2 on his paracruiser, flight 3 total. Light wind.
Okay, another common mistake that I see is new pilots lifting their feet on their launch.
Whoa! You did a butt rig! You're a lucky boy.
I was very lucky. So what happens is when you start to feel the lift that your wing creates, there's a tendency that the new guys just want to lift their feet and jump into the sky. You really have to avoid that temptation and run into the sky. Don't lift, don't jump. And this shows the reason why you need a strong cage when you're learning how to fly. If this would have been a single hoop, flimsy cage, I would have been replacing busted up props and broken cage pieces.
Okay, here comes Jason's landing. Number 3.
Okay, so we see on this landing that I'm not really fully prepared to run when I hit the ground, and I still did my flare a little too late. I could have started my flare a little higher.
This is Jason, number 13, I think.
Okay, here we need to talk about the first of the 4 P's of the launch sequence. That is wing position. Never take off in an oscillation. You can see here, I took off in relatively minor oscillation, but bad habit. You want to make sure that that wing is solid overhead. That is your wing position. So if it means that you need to taxi longer to get that wing under control, do it. Don't take off in an oscillation.
This is Jason, number 12.
Now here we need to talk about posture. By posture, I mean you need to lean back so that the thrust line of your motor is going to benefit you. You can see here that my thrust line is basically pointing up into the air. So it's pushing me down and forward, which makes my taxi distance, my run time, far too long. And it doesn't actually get off the ground until my thrust line actually points out behind me. So I need to know that thrust angle and use it to my advantage. With posture in mind, there's a lot of hot, no-wind days during the summer.
15.
And so here's an example of where you could use that thrust to give you your forward momentum. You can see here my wing comes up. Good position on the wing, but my posture is terrible. So I can't bring in thrust, and I can't get enough forward momentum to get that wing overhead. So remember your position, posture, then you can add power, and the final one is pressure. Just very slight brake pressure to help you with your lift to get you into the air, but nothing past your ears.
This is Jason.
To the past, present, and future me, keep learning and keep moving forward. Practice makes you better, so keep on practicing and remember to have fun. Remember your 3 points of alignment for every setup, and always keep your focus on the target. The launch sequence of the 4 Ps shortens as you get better, and believe it or not, it does seem to get easier. So really, that's the end of this video. The rest is just a chill look at some cool scenery taken a few years back that I found going through some old footage. Hope you enjoy.
Look at that. Oh, how awesome is that? I'm just going to go walk across this cloud. Yeah, baby, walking on a cloud. Like, really, where and how else would you ever be able to do this? You can't. There's no other aircraft that you can do this on. Yeah! Oh.
If you've made it this far, you must have liked what you've seen. If you have, click the like button. Feel free to share, and subscribe so maybe we can meet again. Thanks for watching, and fly safe.